I had to focus, right? I had to lean into doing the one thing that really I am actually passionate about. And of course, from building out my speaking community, I can do merchandise. Of course, from building out my speaking community, I can consult others on how to do the same thing. Of course, there are these other things that can stem from it. But if I'm not focused on becoming an expert in what I do, nothing else really matters, right? You can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Hey, y'all, and welcome to Let's Talk Sis. I'm Shekinah, your host, and as we spend time together, I can promise you 3 things. I'll be honest, I'll make you laugh, and I won't hold back. Let's Talk Sis is your essential girl talk destination where you'll hear about life from the perspective of a Black woman in America, as our stories often go untold. I can assure you, while honest, we are a community for growth and love. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and let's talk, sis. Welcome back to Let's Talk Sis, a safe space for Black women who are deeply emotional, have not felt seen, heard, or valued. We have room for you here. I am Shekinah, your host, and this is absolutely one of my most favorite places to be. And I'm so excited that you decided to join me this week. Hey, ho, hey, ho. Welcome to the show. I'm gonna have to make that a little song, okay? Anyway, if you are new here or even if you're coming back, I want to remind you that this is a community and I want to hear from you. So if you have a timeline topic, a let's talk topic, a question, a conversation, or anything you want to hear discussed here on the podcast, just go ahead and send me an email to the Let's Talk Sis pod at gmail.com with the title Let's Talk Sis, okay? And we'll bring it up, we'll talk about it, and we will get the conversation going, okay? Now, Let's Talk Sis is a brand all about promoting authenticity in conversations, okay, to heal, grow, and inspire our audience. So, if you love what we are doing here, you can help keep the conversation going by supporting the Let's Talk Sis and by supporting the Let's Talk Sis podcast and buy me a coffee, okay? Your support helps grow the team, improve our content, and keep the mission moving forward. And every contribution, big or small, really does make a difference. So you can tap the link in the show notes or visit buymeacoffee.com/Let's Talk Sis to show your love and help keep us building this community together, okay? Now, I want to make a few announcements before we get into this week's timeline topic and let's talk topic, just so you kind of know where the community stands, okay? We are growing our podcast platform on YouTube. So if this is your first time hearing this episode, that means you did not join our live recording sessions, okay? Let's Talk Sis is here to create safe spaces to have conversation and build community. So in effort to do that, I am making a commitment to going live at least about 4 to 5 times a week, okay, Monday through Friday. And each live session will be opportunities just for you all and myself to get to know each other better. Mondays, we have a watch party, so we rewatch the episode. Either you can rewatch or watch for the first time. Mondays live on TikTok. Tuesdays, we talk about TV. So I get a chance. I've always wanted to have a place to discuss reality TV. It is one of my absolute guilty pleasures. So we'll talk about that on TikTok. You guys can join in on the conversation. Let me know what shows you're watching, your opinions about things. Like, y'all are my people to talk to about this stuff, okay? I need to get it out, share my opinions, be like, girl, did you see when? And oh my gosh, I can't believe, okay? So we do all of that on Tuesdays. Let's Talk TV. It's a good time. Wednesdays, I'm still working that out, but right now it's going to be like content creation time, behind the scenes, like editing BTS of the Let's Talk Sis podcast. Thursdays, we are co-working, okay? We are co-working together with the Kimberly Jackson universe, okay? On Thursdays, you can catch us on TikTok. pull up your projects, pull up your assignments, pull up the thing you said you needed to start doing. Get the mop bucket out, fold the laundry, like whatever project you need to dedicate some time to. Thursdays will be there for you to do this, this concept of body doubling. I have found that accountability helps me be the most productive. When I have someone or something that holds me accountable to getting something done, I am most likely to get it done. So when I know that I'm going to be walking into a space with other like-minded women getting shit done, I'm going to be more prone to do that, right? It's a vibe. We'll play music. We're going to set the tone with a money mindset, a boss mindset. Mindset shift, and then we'll end it with talking a little business. We'll ask some common questions. We'll bring up some incidences in business, just to kind of discuss how we navigate through those different spaces and hear from you all as well on how you navigate through these different professional entrepreneurial things that we're doing. And then Fridays, we are recording the podcast live as we have been for the past year. Okay, if you're not here, like, get with it. So we are recording the podcast live on Fridays. Just give you guys an opportunity to chime in on the conversation, ask, answer questions. As we create this episode, again, I'm all for promoting authentic conversations. It's never just about what one person has to say, but what is the conversation? What can we all learn from each other? Okay, so let's go to the chat. We got woo woo. Co-working is a good time. Okay, sometimes we just need someone there for moral support. It helps me deeply. Yes, we underestimate that moral support piece. All right, y'all. Okay, so with that being said, it is time for us to get into our timeline topic of the week. Okay. So, this is a post by the Christian Bay, and when I heard it, I've been telling everybody about it. So obviously, I have to tell y'all. Here we go.
And one of the best revelations that God gave me in 2025 is that no fruit is proof. That'll preach. No fruit is proof. A lot of times we're saying we're trying to discern or figure something out. And, God, is this something that needs to be removed? Is this something that needs to go? And I need proof before I make the decision. And God showed me, if you can't identify any fruit in that thing, any fruit of me, any fruits of the Spirit in that thing, I don't have to send you proof. I don't have to send you a sign, because my presence is not there if there's no fruit. The word of God says, cut down every tree that does not bear fruit. So if you are standing in front of a tree, a person, a relationship, a job, a community, an environment that does not have any fruit of God, why are you asking him, is he there? I ain't here, because if I was here, my fruit would be here. If I was here, you would feel my presence. If I was here, you would know I was here, because you would be able to see my fruit. So being that you can't see my fruit, then that's your proof. Cut it down. I said, all right. Say less. God showed me, when my presence is here, it's clear. So if you're asking whether you should be here, it's because you already sense that something's missing. You already sense that there's no proof, there's no power in the presence of this thing. And if there's no power and there's no fruit and there's no proof, then you know that my presence isn't there. So the lack of fruit is the proof. Cut it down. And one of the best.
Now, when I tell you that thing resonated with me so deeply, okay, I resonate so well, because I think a lot of people can understand this questioning of, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I in the right spot? What is my purpose? What is my will? Where am I supposed to go? God bless this thing I've been pursuing for 25 years. And again, as she said, there's no fruit from it. And I think that is such a very common question, and the answer has just been made plain for me. It really have been made plain. There is no fruit. And I think we have to consider, okay, well, what does the fruit look like, right? For some of us, we can assume it is attached to like a monetary thing, like all of a sudden, I'm getting contracts and deals and paid and et cetera, et cetera. And that could be an example of it. But for myself, so the reason I guess that this hits so hard, and we'll get more into this later, is because I'm in this space where I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of my life in a professional sense that also honors my personal proclivities and my personal needs, my personal desires, right? How can I monetize my gifts? How can I monetize my passions? And that for me, I am a craftsman, so I'm good at a lot of different things. I am a creative. So automatically I'm good with my hands. I'm good with making something come from ideation to creation. And that presents itself a lot of times as a distraction or as the next thing, right? It's exciting because I'm doing it well, not because it's my purpose, not because it's what I'm supposed to do, but because I'm good at it, right? I'm also smart. I'm not saying any of this stuff to toot my own horn. I am giving you all context around who I am. I'm a problem solver. So for me, going into something new, trying something new, doing a new thing, setting out on a new venture is enticing, right? It is attractive to me, but that is also distracting, right? That is also, it's the same concept that applies in relationships, right? If your man is like, yeah, I love you, but I always need a little extra, I like the next best thing, that's destructive to the relationship, right? So if I'm trying to build a relationship with myself where I'm honoring who I am and also in a way that I can monetize that, I have to be committed, right? I have to be committed to my what I actually want to do and be committed to awareness of these things that I have been doing are not producing fruit. The things that I have been doing are actually not a representation of God's presence being there. Because if it was, there would be this abundance, there would be this pouring out of fill in the blank, right? And so I think we have to give ourselves the respect of being honest with ourselves and saying, is there fruit? And that's with professional ventures, that's with personal ventures, that's in relationships. Sometimes you have to let go of certain people that you may have really, really loved, but if there's not love, kindness, patience, gentleness in those arenas, we got to cut it down. Okay. And the next question then becomes, and we can talk about this on another episode. What do you do when you cut it down? Okay. How your girl supposed to cut it down? Okay. Once it's cut, that shit hurt. Now what I'm supposed to do? Okay. So that is an entire process, but we're in this together, sis. So y'all can let me know what you think. Okay. So the comments say, from Miss Curvalish, the question is, how do you gauge that you are, quote, doing it well if it's based off followers and money? This is a great point. We have to know our why, right? I'm just trying to help. So for me, when I say I do things well, I mean, when I execute on a project, I like the outcome. I like the way that it looks. And I think what you're saying, Curvilish, the followers and the monetary lack in that would be, for me, an example of the lack of fruit, right? Just because I like this thing that I put out, for example, again, we're going to talk about this in the episode, so I don't want to jump too far ahead. But I think when I say I do it well, I get complimented on it, right? Oh, that's so nice. That looks good. You did a really good job in this thing. For example, I work for Enterprise. Okay, let's speak about that. I was able to make my way to being a branch manager within a very short period of time. I did that well, right? I performed well. I hit my sales metrics. I, motivated my team. I met my numbers. I showed up to work. I was on time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I did that well. That's absolutely not my passion, though. I was able to cover my bills, so there was some, quote, monetary fruit, but I was not at peace. I was not happy. I did not have joy. I did not have patience. We're going to talk about another episode coming up. I was not always kind to people because I was doing something that I was not happy with, that was not congruent with who I am and what God has called me to do. So in that case, that for me is the lack of fruits. So with that being said, it is time for our timeline topic, okay? It is very much in line with what we are speaking about, and I'm calling this Do One Thing, okay? Now, you guys are going to have to hear the nuance and hear the intention behind what I'm saying, because do one thing is very finite. And we, especially as Black women, are often multi hyphenate, multi talented people. But for me, I've had a revelation of I need to focus, I need to concentrate, and I need to hone in on this particular arena in my life. So, at the beginning of last year, as you all know, I was released from my job. And so then you always ask, okay, what is next, right? So I got on a clarity call. On this clarity call, she asked me, through a series of questions and mindset, etc. In 10 years, where do you see yourself personally, financially, and spiritually? Personally, married, kids, you know, um, yeah, that's pretty much the thing. Nice home, etc. Um, Financially, able to afford a nice lifestyle. I think I don't know, $10,000 a month at minimum in 10 years. And able to and professionally I am doing speaking engagements. How am I making this income? I'm doing speaking engagements. I'm being hired as a keynote speaker. I'm being hired as a panelist. I'm being hired to host the red carpets. I'm being hired to host the great cupcake wars, whatever it might be. Like, that is what I see myself doing, where I see myself behind a microphone, speaking to the people. Okay, that brings me so much joy. So her instructions were, any and everything that you're doing now needs to be in direction of making that happen. Researching how to be an expert speaker, researching, how to get on stages, how to improve your communication, finding more and more opportunities to speak, in small venues, on podcasts, on, at the library, whatever it is that you're doing, all your energy needs to go towards speaking, because we're saying this is going to happen in 10 years, but if we're focused and we're concentrated, it could happen much sooner. This exponential growth. There's these things called the compound effect. You put one in today, then it's two in tomorrow, then it's four, then it's eight, then it's 16. Y'all can do the math. So that is the compound effect, right? Okay, that was the top of last year. I then started to do that. I took a communications class, a free class down to the college here in Virginia. It was great, however, it served as a tool and as a distraction. In this class, it became brought to my attention. I had worked in digital media before. My degree is in marketing, advertising, and promotion, and a minor in communication. So this is where my brain lives, right? I work well with business owners in helping them to sort out and navigate their ideas, their intentions, whether it be to grow on social media, whether it be to bring a project to life, whether it be to simply develop a brand. That is a skill set that I have. And so I'm like, okay, let me start this whole branding consulting business, right? Mind you, I took the communication class to become a better speaker, to lean into speaking, to lean into finding opportunities for being on stage, right? And in this conversations and just me being me, having ideas, people are so, it is suggested to me to kind of, build then my speech around presenting myself as the brand bestie, and offering branding consulting services, a distraction. Okay. So, and it looked cool, it worked well, right? I did it well. I found a couple of clients, word of mouth, some by suggestion, people, recommending me, through connecting on Facebook, just kind of random ways in which I was able to find clients. And then at the end of the year, I'm assessing everything, and I made this giant brand ecosystem. Okay. It was this visual representation of, actually, let me just show y'all. It was this visual representation of how my brand was to grow, how my brand, Let's Talk Sis, was to expand into these different arenas, and I was going to become wealthy from said plan. Okay. Um, and it looked good, right? The numbers looked good. It made sense on paper, and it felt good in my spirit, and it felt good to, show it to people and to present it as this, thing I'm working on, I'm really proud of. Okay? In the meantime, let me see some of these comments. I don't know why I had to put my thing all the way up there. Let's see what you saying. What y'all having a whole little conversation. Love you're going through the discovery process yourself. Yes, yes. Ooh, I love exponential curve. I love the exponential curve. Okay. Y'all tap the heart for the speaker. Let's rise her up. Yes, thank you so much. Double tap the screen. Okay. I am trying. Okay. Create this brand ecosystem, this visual thing that I'm supposed to like stick to and make become a reality. Okay, here it is. And it has all these numbers, and it has all these prices, and it has all this explanation, right? I'm telling God, I'm telling the universe, I'm telling myself, I'm convincing myself this is what is going to be the plan. Okay, you see all this stuff that's on here, you see all of these ideas. And then I don't know, it just something hit me, and I just said to myself, girl, you're doing too much. It says write it down and make it plain. Okay. You are a speaker, period. Okay. And I'm watching another interview with Iyanla Van Zandt and Carlos King, and she's telling him her revelation of sort of the same thing, of a mentor telling her, you have to decide, are you a teacher who writes, or are you a writer who teaches? Right? And she is a teacher who writes. She's like, I'm able to write a book because I have a whole curriculum, right? I am a teacher at the core. So for myself, I had to say, oh, okay, I am a speaker who consults. I'm not finna leave no money on the table. If somebody comes to me and it's recommended, hey, you need to talk to Shekinah because she has some really amazing ideas about branding, and marketing, and the money is right and it makes sense. Absolutely, I'm going to take advantage and I'm going to use that skill. But where my focus is, where my energy lives, where my efforts are going, is going to be towards speaking engagements. It's going to be getting on somebody's mic behind somebody's stage. And until somebody's hiring me, I'm going to do it for myself. Hence, me going live every day. Hence, me creating these communities for me to speak. Somebody's going to book me. Somebody's going to hire me eventually, okay? I am also creating an internship program along with the Kimberly Jackson Universe. She and I are intentionally looking for young Black women, not even young Black women, older black women, period. Okay, whoever fits the bill, who have skills in the creative arena, who want to, offer their skill sets to support the visions that we have, but not only that, to learn more about how to enhance their own skills, to learn more about who they are, what their God-given talents are, right? And how we can align all of our different skill sets, all of our different desires, to create this ecosystem that basically allows all of our dreams to come true, right? I have a lot of ideas around how I can create more opportunities to speak for myself, how I can, enhance this platform, grow this community, but I cannot do it alone. And so if you build it, they will come, right? If we set out and create a program for interns, for other creatives to come along and join us and offer up their skill set as we do the same for them, it's nothing left but for it to be great. It's nothing left for it to succeed. But I had to focus, right? I had to lean into doing the one thing that really I am actually passionate about. And of course, from building out my speaking community, I can do merchandise. Of course, from building out my speaking community, I can consult others on how to do the same thing. Of course, there are these other things that can stem from it. But if I'm not focused on becoming an expert in what I do, nothing else really matters, right? You can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's not gonna work. And if it does work, it probably won't work well. Okay. So let's see. I'm so excited for what we are creating. Yes, women in transition who are wanting to hone their skills. Found Her Future is the internship program in which I'm speaking about. So while I'm mentioning that, let me just go ahead and play for y'all just a little snippet so you can see a little bit more about the internship program. And you can determine if it's something that would make sense for you or not. In the meantime, while our production team loads our assets, speaking is diverse. Normally you have to pitch hundreds to get booked for 2 or 3, not just find you. You can do it. Absolutely. It is one of those things that's a numbers game. And I'm glad you actually mentioned that point, because when I another switch that made me say, okay, this whole ecosystem thing is a big distraction, is when I started to think about the work it would take to build a clientele for consulting, for becoming a brand bestie. I'm like, if I'm gonna put all that energy into something, I'm gonna put it into speaking, right? That is actually what I really wanted to do, because to be honest, I leaned more into brand bestie out of a survival mindset, because when I did the numbers, it presented itself as a more clear, more socially acceptable, more regulated way of earning income quickly, the numbers that I wanted, right? It's more understandable for me to walk into a room and say I'm a consultant versus I'm a podcast host, I'm a keynote speaker, I'm a host, right? It feels more socially acceptable, which is something I also have to work on. Is I value other people's opinions of the things that I say. It is important to me that I get approval sometimes from the outside world. So when I finally am like, you know what, bump that. I could care less whether other people think this is a good quote unquote idea. It doesn't, I don't have to get approval from other people, right? I can actually do the thing that I'm actually passionate about and that I actually love, regardless of what somebody else thinks. And so when I accepted that and I leaned into that, I can choose a non-traditional route of working. I can pursue a career in media and speaking. And so that energy and that effort that I would have to put into building any other business, let's put it into this, and let's put it into growing this opportunity. Okay. So let me play this clip for y'all, and then we're gonna wrap it on up, and we're gonna get on out of here. And if you are joining us live, okay, we are recording 2 episodes today, so you have the absolute pleasure of hanging with me all afternoon. I'm gonna record another episode, but if you're not watching us live, you just have to wait till next week. So here we go. more time just to make sure you get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is the Found Her Future Collective, and we are looking for applicants. Okay, so if any of that fit you, if you fit the bill, if you fit the description, please visit the link in the show notes. Visit tinyurl.com/found her future to learn more. So, with that being said, it is time for our conversation challenge. Y'all know every week I like to challenge you to have a conversation with your closest girlfriend, some of your most beloved women in your life, just to encourage a more authentic and intimate and personal relationship amongst women in our community. So, the question is, are you seeing fruit? Whatever that thing is you are committed to, that you are putting all your time, energy, effort, thoughts into, are you seeing fruit? And if the answer is yes, keep going. Keep going. Tell the entire world, actually. Okay. Let more people know, because that's also something we struggle with, is telling people about our things. And if not, ask yourself, are you ready to cut off what no longer serves you? Develop a backup plan. What will be the next steps? Really investigate what you need to do to honor and serve, who and what God has called you to be. Okay. Let me know in the comments what you come up with. Let me know in the comments some things that this thought process may have sparked for you. Okay. So if you want to find more, you can connect with the sisterhood on Facebook. Just search the Let's Talk podcast and you'll find us. Here you can find journal prompts every Tuesday to help you address old issues, heal, grow, and inspire yourself. There are also episode clips and special announcements. We are also posting and going live every day on TikTok. So please follow us, leave some purple hearts at the Let's Talk Sis pod on TikTok. And lastly, if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do it now. Just click subscribe and like this episode so that you have a chance to know when we are going live and get in on the conversation. All right, sis, this is another episode of the Let's Talk Sis podcast. I am your host, Shekinah. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for spending time with me. I will be right back here next week, and I hope to see you there. Bye!